What if there were places so extreme, so untouched, that even the most advanced explorers struggle to reach them? Some of these territories hide ancient life forms that shouldn't exist. Stay with us as we take you through the 15 most unexplored places on Earth. The Danakil Depression in northeastern Ethiopia is one of the hottest and lowest places on the planet. With temperatures reaching 63 degrees Celsius in summer and sitting 125 meters below sea level, this landscape is as hostile as it gets. In this volcanic terrain, researchers discovered Australopithecus afarensis, an early human ancestor over 3 million years old. Even more astonishing, microorganisms thrive in acidic, sulfuric waters reaching 90 degrees Celsius, pushing the boundaries of life itself. Despite its extreme conditions, the Danakil draws adventurers eager to witness its alien-like landscapes, while nearby communities adapt to this unforgiving environment. Have you ever heard of a place so isolated that no human has ever lived there? Stay tuned. Deep in the southern Indian Ocean lie the Heard Island and McDonald Islands, one of the most isolated places on Earth. These islands, completely uninhabited, are covered in glaciers, battered by fierce winds, and dominated by volcanic landscapes. Heard Island is the largest, spanning 368 square kilometers, formed by an underwater volcano rising from the Kerguelen Plateau. Its highest peak, Mawson Peak, stands at 2,745 meters above sea level, making it the tallest mountain in Australian territory. Around 80% of the island remains covered in ice year-round. Discovered in 1853 by American seal hunter John Heard, the island was soon followed by the discovery of McDonald Island in 1854, named after another hunter, William McDonald. Much smaller, McDonald Island spans just 2.5 square kilometers, with jagged volcanic cliffs reaching 200 meters high. For nearly 20 years, these islands were temporary hunting grounds for sealers, but once the animal population declined, they were abandoned. In 1910, the United Kingdom claimed the archipelago, but by 1947 it was transferred to Australia. Today, no humans live here, only wildlife, with occasional visits from researchers braving the extreme conditions. But while this island is uninhabited, our next location takes isolation to an entirely different level. It's the deepest place on Earth. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean near Guam and the Mariana Islands lies the Mariana Trench, the deepest place on Earth. Stretching 2,540 kilometers, its lowest point, Challenger Deep, plunges nearly 11 kilometers below sea level, with pressure 1,000 times greater than at the surface. For years, this abyss remained unexplored, but modern technology has uncovered an extreme ecosystem. Hydrothermal vents, known as black smokers, erupt from the seafloor at 1,600 meters, spewing mineral-rich water heated to 450 degrees Celsius. Despite the darkness and crushing pressure, life flourishes. At 1,500 meters, creatures like goblin sharks and hatchetfish roam. At 4,000 meters, octopuses and deep-sea sponges thrive. Even beyond 10,000 meters, xenophyophores, single-celled organisms, survive, growing up to 10 centimeters. But as terrifying as the ocean depths may seem, nothing compares to our next location, a place so dangerous that stepping foot on it could be a challenge. Off the coast of Brazil, in the vast Atlantic Ocean, lies Ilha da Queimada Grande, better known as Snake Island. This place is strictly off-limits to visitors, and for good reason. It is home to the golden lancehead, one of the world's most venomous snakes. These vipers, measuring between 70 and 100 centimeters long, have potent venom. Their bite is so dangerous that the Brazilian government has completely banned entry to the island. Scientists estimate that more than 10,000 golden lanceheads inhabit this small island. Their high population density is due to an event that occurred 11,000 years ago, when rising sea levels separated the island from the mainland. With no mammals to hunt, These snakes adapted to prey on birds and insects. Despite the dangers, some people still attempt to sneak onto the island, ignoring the life-threatening risk. But with an island teeming with venomous snakes and no immediate medical assistance, it remains one of the most forbidden places on Earth. But isolation isn't always a curse. Some people have chosen to live in one of the most remote places on the planet, completely cut off from the world. But before we continue, I have a special 10-second request for all of you listening. If you can help me in any way, just press the notification bell and hit that subscribe button. It means the world. It really supports this channel. And if you do that for me, I promise my team and I will do everything we can to make this show even better for you. Deal? In the southern Atlantic Ocean, more than 2,000 kilometers from the nearest inhabited land, lies Tristan da Cunha, one of the most remote settlements on Earth. Despite its isolation, 269 people call this volcanic island home. Covering 207 square kilometers, Tristan da Cunha was formed by volcanic activity nearly 1 million years ago. The island is dominated by Queen Mary's Peak, an active volcano with only a small habitable plain in the north. First discovered in 1506 by Portuguese explorer Tristan da Cunha, it remained uninhabited until the late 18th century, when Jonathan Lambert, a sailor from Massachusetts, became its first settler. By 1816, the British claimed the island, and over time it became home to descendants of just 8 men and 7 women. Living here is not easy. The island sits 2,816 kilometers from South Africa, 3,360 kilometers from South America, and 2,161 kilometers from St. Helena. The only way in or out was a 6-day boat journey across the open ocean. Yet the islanders embraced their way of life. Tristan da Cunha has a hospital, school, 2 churches, a small harbor, and a single supermarket. The community relies on lobster fishing, livestock farming, and potato cultivation, the only crop that thrives here. During the pandemic, the island shut its borders, but today, travelers willing to brave the long journey can once again visit one of the world's most isolated inhabited places. In the Himalayas, towering at 7,570 meters, stands Gangkhar Puensum, the highest mountain in Bhutan and the tallest unclimbed peak on Earth. Its name, meaning White Peak of the 3 spiritual brothers in Dzongkha, reflects its deep cultural and religious significance. Despite several attempts in the 1980s, no climber has reached its summit. The combination of harsh terrain, inaccurate maps, and beliefs has kept this mountain untouched. In 1994, Bhutan banned climbing peaks above 6,000 meters to protect their sacred status. By 2003, all mountaineering was prohibited. A Japanese team tried to ascend Gangkhar Puensum from the Tibetan side in 1998, but political tensions forced them to abandon the expedition. Instead, they summited a subsidiary peak, Liankong Kangri. Adding to the mystery, discrepancies between Bhutanese and Chinese maps continue to create uncertainty about the mountain's exact location. Today, Gangkhar Puensum remains one of the last great frontiers of mountaineering, a place where nature and tradition stand untouched by modern exploration. If you had the chance to be the first person to climb Gangkhar Puensum, knowing the extreme terrain, inaccurate maps, and strict cultural restrictions, would you take the risk? Or do you think some places should remain untouched forever? Let me know in the comments. In the heart of the Amazon rainforest, the Javari Valley remains one of the most inaccessible places on Earth. Spanning 85,344 square kilometers, an area comparable to Portugal, this vast region stretches across the border of Brazil and Peru and is home to some of the world's last uncontacted tribes. Around 2,000 people from 14 distinct tribes live here, rejecting any contact with outsiders. Their isolation is not just a choice, it is a means of survival. Decades of illegal incursions by poachers and loggers have made these communities fiercely protective of their land. Despite legal protections enforced by the Brazilian government, invasions continue, often leading to violent confrontations. The people of Javari Valley live in harmony with the rainforest, relying on its resources while defending it against destruction. However, their struggle remains ongoing, as armed poachers continue to threaten both their way of life and the delicate ecosystem they call home. But what if I told you there's a place so vast and unexplored that an entire underground world was hidden inside it for thousands of years? Stay tuned. In the heart of Vietnam, hidden within Phong Nha Bang National Park, lies Sun Doong Cave, the largest known cave on Earth. For years, its existence remained unknown due to its remote location, accessible only by crossing dense jungles and fast-flowing rivers. The cave was first discovered in 1991 by a local farmer seeking shelter from a storm. However, fearing its mysterious depths, the local people avoided it, and the discovery was forgotten. It wasn't until 2009 that a team of British cavers rediscovered its entrance, revealing an underground world unlike any other. Sun Doong measures approximately 150 meters in depth and stretches over 9,000 meters in length. With a total volume of 38.5 million cubic meters, it surpasses all other caves in size. Scientists have explored 6,000 meters so far, uncovering an ecosystem teeming with life. Thanks to natural skylights, sunlight filters in, allowing plants to thrive. Researchers have identified bats, parrots, butterflies, and over 70 species of amphibians and reptiles, making this cave a self-contained world. But while this cave hides an underground jungle, our next location is a land of glaciers, fjords, and untouched wilderness stretching across an entire continent. Stretching across southern Chile, northern Patagonia remains one of the least explored regions on Earth. Its vast wilderness is dominated by dense rainforests, towering peaks, turquoise lakes, immense glaciers, and intricate fjords, many of which remain uncharted. One of the most mysterious aspects of this region lies beneath the surface. Northern Patagonia's fjords are home to diverse marine ecosystems, but much of their life exists below 15 meters, requiring specialized equipment for exploration. Harsh weather conditions and remote access have left large portions of these underwater worlds untouched. In late 2024, researchers deployed remotely operated vehicles to extract sediment cores from the northern Patagonia Sea, extending into the Peru-Chile Trench. These samples revealed geological records, shedding light on ancient volcanic activity and its effects on marine environments. On land, northern Patagonia is just as untamed. Spanning from Chaiten to the southern Patagonian ice fields, it consists of pristine forests, rugged mountains, and isolated ecosystems. A striking example is Cochamo Valley, known for its granite cliffs and ancient forests. Despite its appeal to climbers and hikers, vast areas remain unexplored, preserving their wild nature. Conservation efforts are underway, with environmental organizations and sustainable tourism groups working to protect thousands of hectares. These initiatives emphasize the delicate balance between discovery and preservation, ensuring that northern Patagonia remains untouched for future generations. Nestled deep in the Tibetan Plateau, Motuo County is one of the most isolated and least explored regions on Earth. Surrounded by towering mountains and dense forests, this remote area remains nearly inaccessible. Buddhists consider it a sacred place, yet few outsiders have ever set foot here. For decades, multiple attempts were made to build a road connecting Motuo to the rest of Tibet, but nature had other plans. Avalanches and rockfalls repeatedly destroyed construction efforts. In the mid-1990s, a road was finally completed, only to be wiped out within days by landslides. Since then, authorities have abandoned further road-building attempts. Today, reaching Motuo requires a grueling 4-day journey across snow-covered peaks, 9 rivers, and a suspension bridge spanning a deep chasm. Only the most determined travelers take on this demanding trek. Those who do are met with an extraordinary landscape: vast alpine meadows, pristine forests, glacial lakes, and rushing rivers, all surrounded by the harsh, snow-capped mountains of the Himalayas. But as difficult as it is to reach, our next destination is so remote that its entire population is on the verge of disappearing. In the southern Pacific Ocean, the Pitcairn Islands stand as one of the most isolated places on Earth. This British overseas territory consists of 5 small islands of volcanic and coral origin, but only one, also called Pitcairn, is inhabited. The island's history is tied to the mutiny on the Bounty. In 1790, a group of mutineers from the HMS Bounty fled here, bringing several Tahitians, some forcibly, after killing their husbands. Over time, other settlers arrived, though many later relocated to Tahiti. By 1838, Pitcairn became an official British colony, and its population grew to 233 people. However, given the island's small size of just 4.5 square kilometers, overcrowding led to a mass relocation to Norfolk Island. Today, only 47 people remain, making Pitcairn the least populated territory in the world. With almost no children left, as families send them abroad for education, the population continues to decline. In an effort to attract settlers, authorities offer free land, a house, and a small farm to newcomers, yet few accept. If you were offered free land, a house, and a small farm to live on one of the most remote islands on Earth, with only 47 neighbors and no easy way in or out, would you take the offer or pass? Why? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and follow the channel to discover more interesting things. In western Madagascar, Tsingy de Bemaraha National Park is home to one of the most extreme landscapes on Earth. Its jagged limestone formations, called Tsingy, meaning where one cannot walk barefoot, in Malagasy, have been shaped by erosion over millions of years, creating a maze of towering pinnacles, deep fissures, and hidden caves. Spanning 666 square kilometers, with the adjacent Tsingy de Bemaraha Strict Nature Reserve covering another 853 square kilometers, much of this vast terrain remains unexplored. The sharp rock formations and treacherous crevices make large sections of the park nearly impossible to access, leaving ecosystems undisturbed and biodiversity thriving. Due to its isolation, Tsingy de Bemaraha hosts an extraordinary number of endemic species. Scientists have documented 11 lemur species, over 100 bird species, and around 45 reptiles and amphibians, many found nowhere else on Earth. The dry, deciduous forests nestled between the limestone formations further enhance its ecological importance. Despite being a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1990, much of the park remains uncharted. Scientific expeditions continue to uncover new species, highlighting its significance as a biological frontier. The park's razor-sharp terrain and narrow rock passages deter widespread exploration, preserving its pristine state. Rising 2,420 meters above the landscape of Mozambique, Mount Namuli is the country's second highest peak and one of its most inaccessible. Surrounded by dense tropical forests, this remote mountain remains largely unexplored due to its rugged terrain and challenging conditions. The first recorded expedition to Namuli's base was led by British explorer Henry Edward O'Neill in 1886. Early research focused on bird species, but scientific exploration came to a halt during Mozambique's civil war. It was not until 1998 that scientists returned, uncovering rare species of birds and animals found nowhere else on Earth. In 2014, a research team attempted to study Namuli's summit. After a month-long ascent, they reached the top, but could only explore a small section. Even in this limited area, they discovered previously unknown ant species, highlighting the mountain's unique biodiversity. But what if there was a place where an entirely unknown ecosystem had already been uncovered? Stay tuned. On the eastern coast of Australia's Cape York Peninsula, Cape Melville stands as one of the most isolated and unexplored landscapes on the continent. Discovered in 1815 by Lieutenant Charles Jeffreys, it was originally named Cape Stony before being renamed Melville. Today, it is part of Cape Melville National Park, which also includes 2 nearby islands. What makes Cape Melville so unique is its vast expanse of massive granite boulders, which form a natural barrier around its dense tropical forests. For years, these towering rocks prevented wildfires and human interference, creating an ecosystem that remained untouched and unexplored. Because of this, the region became known as the Lost World. In 2013, a team from James Cook University, alongside National Geographic researchers, launched an expedition to the Cape Melville Range. Upon reaching the forests, they discovered an entirely unknown ecosystem teeming with species that exist nowhere else on Earth. Among their most significant finds was a 20-centimeter-long gecko with a slender body and large eyes, later classified as the leaf-tailed gecko or Saltuarius eus. They also documented the blotched boulder frog, a small, light brown amphibian hiding in the cracks of the giant rocks. Another major discovery was a previously unknown brown lizard, later named the Cape Melville shade skink. In addition to these animals, researchers identified several new plant species, all of which are endemic to Cape Melville. But while this region remained isolated by rock, our final destination is protected by sheer inaccessibility, one of the last untouched frontiers on the planet. Stretching across the border of Papua New Guinea and Indonesia, the Star Mountains remain one of the least explored regions on the planet. This remote mountain range extends eastward from Indonesia into Papua New Guinea, eventually merging with the Hindenburg Range. Due to its extreme inaccessibility, the Star Mountains have preserved an untouched ecosystem teeming with biodiversity. A 2013 biological survey of the Hindenburg Wall, a vast series of limestone plateaus, recorded 1,109 species of plants and animals, with nearly 100 previously unknown to science. Beyond its ecological significance, the Star Mountains are also home to small indigenous communities that have lived in isolation for centuries. In the valleys and foothills, these groups maintain traditional lifestyles, largely unaffected by modern civilization. The combination of steep terrain, dense forests, and remote location has deterred widespread exploration, leaving much of the region uncharted. Scientists believe that many undiscovered species may still exist in these unspoiled landscapes. As one of the last great wild frontiers, the Star Mountains remain an invaluable site for scientific discovery and conservation efforts. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to us. Click on the video that appears on your screen right now. I'm sure you'll love this content. Comment below about the next topic you'd like to see featured on our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time.